Willkommen zum Next Wave Podcast mit Matt Wolf und Nathan Lanz.
That feels like probably the biggest unlock. You could produce content in one language and then make it available in 33 different languages.
Yes. To be able to just talk to AI now and to build so many different apps, it's like, this is the time I keep telling people where you can be the idea person who ships.
Hey, welcome to the Next Wave Podcast. I'm Matt Wolf. I'm here with Nathan Lanz. And in this AI landscape, this AI world that we're in, there are so many different tools out there. And most people are sitting around going, I don't know how to use this in my business. I don't know what this is good for. Well, today we're going to talk about a tool that people are actually implementing in their business and people are actually generating revenue from and using really successfully to generate side hustle income. Today, we're talking to Amar from ElevenLabs. And if you're not familiar with ElevenLabs, it is a tool that allows you to train your own voice into it. It creates podcasts, it creates sound effects. It does all sorts of amazing things with audio. And Amar is going to break down all of that for us on this show and even show us inside the app how to use it, how to get the most out of it. And it's just got a ton of cool features.
The big unlock here is the fact that with ElevenLabs, you could produce content in one language and then have it go out to 33 different languages. So in business, that is such a huge unlock that you could now reach all these new markets that you couldn't before.
Yeah, this tool is absolutely game changing. We use it ourselves. It is a super fun tool too. You're going to love it. And so let's go ahead and just break it all down with Amar. We're here with Amar from ElevenLabs, and we're going to talk about some of the really cool stuff that ElevenLabs has been rolling out recently. So Amar, let's jump in real quick though and give a little bit of background on you. Like, you know, what were you doing before ElevenLabs and how did you get involved with them? What's your role there? Kind of give us the lay of the land a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good. I caught the AI bug like everyone else, and around late 2022, I fell into it all really on the deep end when I published a children's book that accidentally went viral. You remember that, Matt? Because that's how we met.
Yeah.
And so after that episode, I basically started to just share stuff with AI every month or so. It was a new experiment. New tools are coming out all the time, right? We just got Runway, we just got Pika and all these things. And so it was a new thing every month or so, sharing each creation. And ElevenLabs was a tool I stumbled across. I started using it for a bunch of my experiments, voiceovers in videos, characters voiced in those AI-generated videos. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed using the tool, but I was burning credits and I was...
So you're like, hire me, give me free credits. That's hilarious. It's like the college student working at like Burger King or something, like getting free burgers. Right? It's like...
But no, through that, I essentially was like, how do I get in touch with ElevenLabs? I wonder if they'd enjoy using this product. I spoke to the founder. We had a great conversation, and he was also looking to hire someone to lead the design team. And that's essentially how it started. We hit it off, and yeah, the rest is history. And I'm head of design at ElevenLabs and having a blast.
Very cool. Yeah, I remember we were doing some Twitter spaces for a while. We were on a pretty consistent streak of doing like these weekly Twitter spaces. And I think that's how we initially connected. And you had the book that you put out. And I think that book was actually one of the first times that I started to realize, oh, AI is actually kind of a controversial space. Like up until that point, I was just like, look at these cool tools. These are so much fun. But, you know, I started to see some of the backlash bubble up around that time around AI. And so I do remember that very well. I remember you had kind of like a mixed experience putting out that book, let's say.
Yeah, mixed is probably the right word. I had a bit of an Oppenheimer moment looking in the lake, like what have I done to art? But no, it was a great learning experience because I think it showed me, someone in the tech bubble in San Francisco, and also there's someone who always just sees the optimistic side of all of this. Hey, actually, there's a whole set of people who have a very visceral reaction to this. And it was worth seeing their side of the story, even if the way they reacted was maybe a little harsh, but
yeah.
So
No, I think that's the best perspective in the world of AI is to try to see both sides of the token. Let's talk about ElevenLabs a bit. ElevenLabs, I think, first came onto the scene as like a voice cloning tool. It was the first one I ever remember coming. There was voice cloning tools out there, right? But they were very obviously AI, right? Like they were like that Siri, Alexa kind of voice where you can tell it was AI. ElevenLabs was the first one I remember popping up where I was like, I could barely tell the difference if this is a human or not anymore. And then I was able to actually clone my own voice into it and make like little recordings with my own voice. But I mean, ElevenLabs has come so far since then. Like, I guess what is ElevenLabs like big picture mission? Like who are they trying to help, and like who are these tools for? Because it seems like there's a pretty wide range of abilities it has now.
Yeah. So funny story is the way it started was the two co-founders in Poland were watching a show on one of the streaming sites. It was all dubbed in Polish, but in Poland, that show was dubbed by one voice actor who did the men and the women. So you can imagine what an experience that was like, and that kind of took them down the rabbit hole. There's got to be a better way, right? And so it started with a problem we all had. Whenever you watch a dub show and it sucks, and you're like, oh, like I wish there was a better way. I don't want to read the subtitles. And so that kind of took them down the dubbing rabbit hole. But the mission there, and the mission I think still holds true, which is we say internally, it's like keep content universally accessible, any language, any voice. And that's where a lot of the dubbing stuff started. But then also the huge voice library now with 32 plus different languages that the models support. And so it still is that. We really want to make content engaging, any language, any voice. You should have the same great authentic experience that you had in your language and another language for other people. But what's been amazing is that platform that started as this voice replication and dubbing thing is now just a complete AI audio like platform and suite where you can just generate sounds, soon music. So there's going to be all sorts of fun stuff coming there.
When it comes to like celebrity voices and stuff like that, like what's ElevenLabs' thoughts or approach on like cloning voices without permission? Because I do know that's like a worry of a lot of, voice actors, especially.
The stance internally, and at least the things that I can speak to are, we take the deepfake stuff like very seriously, and the safety bits are actually a feature built in that we think through from the beginning. So very much like, how do we recognize voice signatures for these famous voices? How are we seeing what's generated, moderating that? So that stuff is like all monitored. And I think the team has kind of been working on that nonstop since the beginning, which is why even this election cycle was very smooth and everything all went well. And I think, but on the celebrity voices thing, we do want to work with them, right? I think it's like we've already started having a bunch on the platform. So if on the mobile app, we have Burt Reynolds and Judy Garland and James Dean and Jerry Garcia. And Deepak Chopra actually just put his voice on it too, and you can listen to his meditations in his voice. So it's been really fun to kind of start getting more and more folks on the platform that way.
Well, I would love to sort of dive in and like maybe even do some screen sharing and maybe talk about some of the features that you think are the coolest. Maybe anybody watching this on YouTube can get a peek. If they haven't tried ElevenLabs, they can see sort of some of the stuff that it's capable of. And then maybe even take a look at the iPhone app if we can figure out how to do it technically. Take a look at the iPhone app, because that ElevenLabs reader is really, really cool. Like you can go and take any article you find online, any PDF, pretty much any source of text, throw it in there and have somebody read it to you. And now you can even have it turned into a podcast for you. So like, that'd be really cool to talk about. But maybe let's start with like the desktop app.
Let's do it. Cool. Well, okay, we're in the dashboard here. And this is essentially where you can start creating all sorts of stuff with our generative AI audio. So let's start with text-to-speech. This is essentially what most people end up using because it's widely applicable for voiceovers in video games, to YouTube videos, to any sort of way you might want to use generate speech. So here I've got maybe, a nice fun opener for a potential podcast. And let's just regenerate and hear it.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Cool. So you got a sense of Brittany there, who's in our voice library. And you can see we've got tons of voices as well for so many different use cases. So that's Brittany, our kind of social media style voice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel.
And then you have, trailer voice. Remember those trailers from the 90s?
In a world where AI voices sound like robots.
Can we do like one for the next wave like that? Welcome to the Next Wave podcast.
And these voices that you're sharing, these are voices that are available to anybody with an ElevenLabs subscription, or are these like ones that you've personally trained that are just in your account?
Yeah, these are all available in the library. And so the ones you're seeing are ones I've just added from the library, available to everyone.
Gotcha. Cool.
Let's hear the trailer voice.
Welcome to the Next Wave podcast with Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands.
Perfect.
Okay, that's the new intro.
Yeah. Now I don't have to record one anymore. We'll just use that
I'm
one.
gonna download this and send you the file. Okay.
Look, if you're curious about custom GPTs or are a pro that's looking to up your game, listen up. I've actually built custom GPTs that help me do the research and planning for my YouTube videos, and building my own custom GPTs has truly given me a huge advantage. Well, I want to do the same for you. HubSpot has just dropped a full guide on how you can create your own custom GPT, and they've taken the guesswork out of it. We've included templates and a step-by-step guide to design and implement custom models so you can focus on the best part, actually building it. If you want it, you can get it at the link in the description below. Now back to the show.
And so you've got the voices, we've got the different models, our turbo model, which is cheaper but way faster. And so that's really great for people who are building apps and need really fast reaction times for the generations. And then, some legacy models, if people still prefer how some of the older ones sound, but we've kind of kept that in there for our power users.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And then
so
real quick, what are the little you're probably about to get into this and I'm just sort of getting ahead of myself, but what are the little sliders, and can you sort of explain what those do and how they affect the output?
Yeah, so a few of them. So stability is essentially, you can push it to be more variable and you'll get more intonation and stuff like that, but it gets a little unstable. So it's really, if you just want to experiment with, the way the output might play out. Similarity is really useful if you have a replica of your voice and you're trying to decide how similar you want it to sound versus maybe lose it a little bit and try something else. And then style exaggeration. This one is, I view it as like a very experimental slider. It's like you're not sure what you're gonna get, but you might get a range of emotions.
Yeah.
So it's feeling a little boring. Try the style exaggeration.
And one thing that's really cool too is that it's like you generate a sentence and you hear it and you're like, I don't really like the way that came out. You tweak a slider. I mean, it seems like you don't even have to tweak a slider. You can just generate it again and it'll sound a little bit different, but tweaking the sliders will sort of make a bigger impact on the regeneration of it.
Oh, 100%. And the other thing that actually makes a difference is how you've written the text out. So for instance, if I had done all caps, it's actually going to be a bit louder and more exaggerated. The exclamation mark is adding more emphasis. So it actually understands the context of the text that it's reading.
Yeah, there's some handy tips. Like I've been playing with ElevenLabs for, I don't know how long ElevenLabs has been around, but I feel like I've been playing with it for at least 18, 19 months now. And I didn't even know some of that kind of stuff. So that's really cool.
Amazing. My favorite though is the voice changer. And I'm not sure how I'm going to demo it here. It's a tricky one, but you can take your own voice and transform it into another. So maybe you want to say that trailer line in a different way. We can take that audio and then turn you into David, the trailer voice, with exactly how you said it.
Yeah, so all the specific inflections that you might put into the sentence and things like that, it's going to follow that exactly, pretty much.
It'll follow that exactly. And so this is, honestly, if you really want to direct the voice, this is the best way to do it. You have to, be a little bit of a voice actor yourself, but you'll get some fun output with this one.
Yeah. I wonder if it would work, if it'll take the audio from the microphone, even though you're on a podcast.
You really want me to voice act right now?
What about a 3-word thing, like "let's freaking go" or something like that?
Right, let's not. I'm going to try the mic. I got it over here.
Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't take over my mic over here, but we'll see. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
So perfect. It's so cool. I love that. So if you're not quite getting the exact output you want by typing in the text, this is sort of like the next thing you can go try. Just speak it out in the exact way you want it to be heard, and then it'll generate it that way.
And so, you saw, the voices here, but I do want to show you the library where all of the voices are. And so this is where, I think you can have the most fun just browsing what all the different voices on the platform are. And we have voice actors as well who've now added their voice. So one of my favorites is Carter. who actually did a lot of the voices for Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. So Baraka and like all these characters that you remember. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an 80s kid, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I love Mortal Kombat. So for me to see his voice on the platform is super cool. You can hear it.
I failed over and over and over.
So he's voiced Shao Kahn, and this is so much like that Shao Kahn voice, right?
Oh my God, I got to use that for a video game. That's got to be like the voice in the game. Like the narrator.
Yeah, 100%. And we even have singing voice. So, and this is the kind of the cool thing about the replicas, right? It's like you can record any sort of recording, and it'll take that into consideration.
Although I'm almost 30, I feel like a schoolgirl when I think of you.
Maybe that's the one we should use for our next wave intro.
Yeah, definitely.
That's super cool. Now I know there's like a sort of like marketplace as well. Like, do you know Matt Vid Pro, the AI YouTuber? He trained his voice into ElevenLabs and he put it into some sort of like marketplace too. And now he says that he keeps on seeing like TikToks and like Instagram reels and stuff that are using his voice. And it's like, it's been weirding him out. But like, what's the whole like marketplace thing?
Yeah. So voice actors, when they come to the platform, they essentially can start earning when people use their voice. And so we have people earning in the thousands of dollars a month passively, just not doing anything, and other people are just using their voice. And so I think Matt Vid is probably a recipient / victim, according to of this popularity. Yeah. But yeah, no, he'll be earning for all that virality, which is cool.
Yep.
Are there any limitations on how his voice can be used? Like, can it be used for selling, hymns or something like this?
Yeah, there are people who have, they can keep their voice on the platform for a specific period of time. They can pull it back. So he does have that control.
So that's super cool. Yeah, it's like if you want a little passive income stream, go generate, and you have a decent sounding voice. Go generate or train your voice in there and you can sort of sell it on the platform. That's pretty cool.
Totally. And, it's not just one voice. You might be able to do multiple voices. So Carter here does his video game style character, but he also has a casual conversation one.
This man was attacked by a shark, but incredibly, this attack saved his life.
And so you can see that he's kind of range, right?
We all know that regular exercise is good for the body. A modern man's man value.
And so he's got different voices. They're all earning different ways. If you're a voice actor, I'm sure you can do a range of voices. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Now, what's the main use case right now? Is it people doing like faceless YouTube channels and stuff like that, or what's the main way people are actually using ElevenLabs?
It's a range, honestly. The faceless YouTube channels are huge. I was just watching a cricket game yesterday, and the ads in between, I could recognize the voice. I was like, "That's Brian." And so there's advertisements that it's being used for, and then I think a lot of these like video game things are now are using them a lot too.
Yeah, I've actually started even using the sound effects feature a little bit more too. Like you can have like a knock on the door or like a loud crash or like an explosion or things like that, and just generate real quick sound effects. And you don't even need to go hunt them down on stock sound effects sites anymore. Just go to ElevenLabs, tell it what you want, and generate it. And now I'm starting to sound like a pitch man for ElevenLabs, but like I legitimately do use it. So
like how many languages work too? Like is it good like going from one language to another yet, or like where is that at?
Yeah. So it goes between 32 different languages. And you can generate that same thing. That text we had here in German. Let's actually do that. Why not?
Yeah, that feels like probably the biggest unlock that people haven't really wrapped their heads around yet, is the fact that you could produce content in one language and then make it like available in 33 different languages. It's
so
crazy.
It handles the translation as well. You can type out a sentence in English and it'll like translate it to Japanese and then speak it out in your voice in Japanese as well.
So you would have to do the translation yourself.
Okay.
But yeah, you will get the effect.
Sweet.
Willkommen zum Next Wave Podcast mit Matt Wolf und Nathan Lanz.
The same trailer voice, but now in German. Yeah.
My name is cool in German.
I like Matt Wolf.
I'm like, "Woo."
I mean, my last name is German anyway, so.
And yeah, on the sound effects front, let's just, I think I was trying to do this for a video game I was making, and let's hear what sound it makes. Oh, yeah, that's more like a video. Yeah.
What's the prompt just for anybody who might just be listening on audio?
Yeah. So it's a retro video game click sound.
Okay, cool.
You got this one. Yep. And it kind of reminds you of those classic 8-bit games.
Yeah, like in the menu or whatever, you're picking something.
Yeah,
or
it was like moving through the menu. Let's hear a car whizzing by. See what that sounds like. Really fast car. But yeah, the cool thing here though is that exactly what you said. It's like instead of spending hours searching for that sound effect, just describe what's in your head, and then hopefully you get a sound close to it, and we send you multiple samples so you can hopefully get there pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else in the desktop app that we haven't covered on this yet?
My favorite one, which is the latest thing we've got that's come out recently, is conversational AI. So we're literally letting anyone build conversational AI agents that they can talk to and try out. And the API is super simple too. So anyone can literally start building their own conversational experiences. One thing I made was a little assistant for our wiki internally. We have all this stuff about our offices and all that stuff. And it's like, do I have to go read through this wiki? Why can't I just ask this agent, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password in the London office, right? And it'll tell me that. And so it's as easy as like you go in, you describe, what it is, you give it a system prompt, and you have all these other settings if you really want to play with them. You can choose the LLM. For instance, I can go Gemini Flash or GPT-4 Mini. And then here you can see I've got all of the wiki as a knowledge base for it. So it knows what it's basing off the answers. And then we can talk to it.
Yeah, it's almost like building like a custom GPT, like the actual process of building it. And I actually played with that. I actually forgot about that feature until you just brought it up again, but I played with it in like a video either last week or the week before, whenever it came out. It was really quite cool. Now, when you do build one of these, 2 questions. Is there a limit to how much like knowledge you can put into it? And 2, can I like embed it on my website or something like that so other people can have conversations with it outside of ElevenLabs?
Yeah, so it's working with the context window of the LLM that you're using. So there's a bit of that that limits that. And then, yeah, you can totally embed it. So we let you easily like copy out a widget. You can customize it in the dashboard, and then you literally just paste in this one line, and you'll get your widget everywhere, which is pretty
That'd be
cool.
super cool to make it like something like instead of having a frequently asked question for a company or something, you've got like a little widget, and it's like, here's a little magic, genie that you just talk to or whatever. It's like a magic assistant that you talk to, and it'll answer whatever. Right? That's so cool.
100%. And the other cool thing is you can actually give it success criteria, and so you'll know later on in the logs, like, hey, when someone spoke to this thing, did they find the thing that they were looking for? And I can define it as, it's as simple as a prompt. It's like, if the question of the user is answered successfully, then you helped. If they were like, hey, cool, like I got what I needed, that counts as success. But yeah, I can give you a quick demo of what it sounds like. The voice I picked out for this assistant was a more sci-fi sounding robot because I wanted it to feel like a classic one. So it sounds like this.
Hello, I'm Ava.
You got that like plastic robotic voice. But
you need the hologram now.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of Cortana from Halo. Yeah, that's the vibe. But let me talk to it and let's see.
Hi, I'm Elle.
Hey, Elle, how's it going? Where is the London office?
The London office is located at floor 5, 119 Wardour Street, London, W1F0UW. If you need any more information about the office or anything else, feel free to ask.
It's very cool.
Sweet, yeah. And I will say the speed, before you comment on the speed, is the LLM also.
Okay, yeah.
That wasn't like Gemini Flash one of the options, and Gemini Flash is pretty dang fast. Yeah.
It's really fast. It's that's the one we kind of recommend because of the speed. Though I find if you want a good balance of intelligence plus the speed, then I think 4.0 is a good like middle one.
Sweet. No, that's really cool. I mean, hearing that voice, having a conversation with that voice was pretty surreal, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fun. You can just like kind of make your own characters and embed them in different places. And then the last thing I'll show you guys is projects. This is what we used for a lot of the folks who are publishing and turning their books into audiobooks, or people who actually want their podcast transcript maybe also regenerated and want to try something else. So projects essentially lets you kind of go line by line and even choose different voices for different segments. So it's a really powerful editor for that long form stuff that people might want to do.
And you can do that in your own voice, right? So you could train it on your own voice. Because I guess one big gripe I have about audiobooks is like when you hear the original author, it's so much better. But when it's somebody else, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people are starting to use ElevenLabs for audiobooks, it seems like. I think like, in fact, I think like Amazon might even be letting people use ElevenLabs for like Audible books now. I'm pretty sure. So it's like, you are starting to see more and more authors just use tools like this and plug in their entire book.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also a big part of why we were excited about doing the mobile app. It's like we're giving all these indie authors a way to self-publish their content. Now they can use our whole suite. So it's like they use projects, they publish directly to our mobile app, and then they reach a whole new audience. And so it's kind of fun to see the tools finally coming together and connecting across different mediums as well, which has been a fun evolution.
Yeah, I do wonder long term how that's going to work out, because it feels like all these are going to kind of start to combine, right? Like, are you guys competing with Suno, or like, there's Runway and AI video, but now they've got something with stills where they're showing images, right? Like competing with Midjourney, and Midjourney's working on AI video, and at some point they're all going to want audio as well, right? And so it's like, how does this all like play out long term?
It's so true. I think it's we're seeing the convergence of like all the different, even the Luma's recent thing where it's like, now it's a canvas for creativity and it has video and photos and stuff. I think the consumer wins, that's for sure. We're having a great time with all these tools.
For sure. Let's talk about the app a little bit too, because I know the app's got the reader in it, which we were talking about a little bit. It'll read PDFs to you or read articles or things like that to you. You can have Jerry Garcia read it to you, or was Burt Reynolds, I think, was one of them, right?
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah. So you've got like all of these options for who can read it to you, and then now the newest feature is the GenFM, where similar to what they did with the Notebook LM, it'll do podcasts, but it's got like new voices. And can you use the new GenFM with like different voices, or is it set voices right now?
Yeah, so right now we've kind of curated pairs, and so we've kind of got some voices are really great for tech content, others are great for politics or studying or whatever, and based off that content, it'll pick out your co-hosts. But we will add more customization. That's for a given. That's kind of what we're really excited about. We even played around with internally, like, what does it look like when Deepak Chopra is trying to understand the recipe for chicken marsala. He's like, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Or do like a podcast of Deepak Chopra trying to understand like Gen Alpha slang or something.
Sure, exactly.
I want to hear that.
So yeah, we're loving the direction it can take with all the voices for sure.
Very cool.
All right, cool. So the mobile app. Yep, as you can see here on the homepage, we've recently got GenFM, and you'll see it on your homepage right here with the two co-hosts kind of flying around your screen. But you go into it, you import an article. So I'm just pasting in an article that I want to hear. And I'm just going to hit generate. And so what was fun about this is we took this state that's kind of boring, right? Like you're waiting for your podcast to load, and we turned it into a fun, interactive moment. It's like your co-hosts are showing up. We're getting them ready in the room. We're having fun.
You're not just sitting there,
Yeah, it's not just sitting there. And then when your podcast is ready, it kind of sounds something like this. So let's hear them.
Counterintuitive. Underreacting. A superpower for the modern age? Well, not quite. Today we're discussing how learning to underreact may actually be the key to making a real difference in our increasingly chaotic world.
That's an intriguing concept. In a world that often feels like it's spinning out of control, the idea of underreacting might seem counterintuitive. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
Of course. You see, I used to be the kind of person who would rush in.
And so you can see you get a little bit of a discussion. And, it's been so fun because I've tried it out on all sorts of content. For instance, my dad had written this essay about parenthood. And I then played it back to him, but with two AI co-hosts discussing his essay. And it was a completely different perspective. And he was like, wow, it feels so
wow, this is genius.
Either felt like a genius or like he was being judged.
But it's amazing, right? It's such a fun way to hear an entirely new perspective on a piece of content.
And it can also combine a whole bunch of pieces of content, right? So if I wanted to do a morning news brief, I can go to all of the various websites that I get my AI news from, toss them all into the Reader app, and it'll make a podcast that sort of rounds up all the news for that day for me, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can get all sorts of, you just give it a bunch of content. We will then take out insights and other perspectives you might not have gleaned from it. And then to the extent that we can with the LLM's knowledge, of course, how does it tie to other events you might not have known about? And then that brings out a cool insight as well. So yeah, it's been fun. And I'll tell you, the team really scrambled for this one. We thought about the idea and we were like, oh, we got to make it happen. And then we just started going at it week and a weekend. And then, it was real. And then we just kept fine tuning it till we got to this point.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a super cool app. I have one question about it. I actually have not played with the GenFM. I think the day we're recording this is either the day it came out or the day after it came out. So it's really fresh as the day that we're recording this. But can you actually download the podcast episode when you're done? Get an MP3 version of it or something like that?
Yeah, so we don't have full episode downloads yet, but you can share them with your friends and that'll send them, I think about, we love the number 11. So it's a 1 minute, 11-second clip that you can send.
Cool. And obviously it's similar to Notebook LM, right? So I'm curious, right now, what's the main difference? Is it you guys have a lot more choices of voices, I assume? Is that one?
Yeah,
I
think there are a few things that we think make GenFM stand out, and I think one is the voice library for sure. It's really realistic voices, and you have a whole range of potential co-hosts. The other thing is the languages piece. We're still staying true to that, which is 32 languages, so anyone can have all sorts of different podcasts in different languages, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
And then I think a mobile first experience, because this is something where I don't necessarily want to pull up a notebook style page and listen to a podcast there. I want to hear it on my phone while I'm on the commute or something like that. And we think this is a more natural way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we recently did a tier list for AI, and we did put ElevenLabs in A, and we did put Notebook LM after debating it in B. And the big reason was, or was it B or C? Maybe I think it was B. And the reason was, I'm highly skeptical that Google can actually turn that into a product that people actually use. And I think ElevenLabs honestly has a better chance, with the whole suite of things that you guys have people using. It seems more natural that, it goes into 33 different languages. That's great. You turn a podcast into 33 different languages. That's an actual use case that people could do today and make money from that, versus with the Google product, with Notebook LM, I'm not sure right now what you would actually use it for in terms of business.
Yeah. I think I'm clear. I see the studying use case. I think it's great. And I think it's a fun way to explore the content. And also kudos to them for really, showing people this was a fun new way to look at it. But yeah, we're absolutely excited to, make something great.
Well, I don't know if you can answer my next question or not. You may not be allowed to, but is there anything exciting that's upcoming for ElevenLabs that maybe you could tease for us?
Or that you can break on this show.
Well, I think we teased music way early on, and we're excited that model is really coming together and sounding great. So I think that'll be one of the next things you guys will see very soon.
Interesting.
And then of course, the other thing we're always thinking about is how does all of this, all these different parts of audio come together? Music, sound, speech, and so on. So things are being explored.
Very cool.
I'll wait for the right moment. I think the right teammates, the research team who's really cranking and doing all of this, and deserve all the credit, honestly. I'm waiting for them to feel right to reveal to the world what they've been cooking, and it's amazing.
Awesome.
Cool.
No, this has been really cool. I appreciate you jumping in. I know, you've got a really great X account. I follow you on X. You share a lot of really cool stuff about ElevenLabs, but also not always just ElevenLabs, right? It's not a pure ElevenLabs pitch account, but you share some really cool stuff, a lot of stuff you're experimenting with. You build a lot of apps. You've been doing a lot of AI coding stuff. In fact, we're talking about doing a follow-up episode where we break down some of the cool apps that you've been working on and how you've built them. So definitely everybody needs to follow Amar over on X. Do you want to go ahead and shout out your X account?
I always feel awkward when I'm shouting out my own account, but I'm
Go for it.
I'm at Amar on X. AMMAAR, because I know how badly the baristas have spelled my name.
The second A keeps throwing me off.
There we go. I think to what you said, like, as someone who doesn't really code and like finds it hard to code, and to be able to just talk to AI now and to build so many different apps, it's like, this is the time, I keep telling people, where you can be the idea person who ships.
Appreciate it. Well, thanks so much, Amar. This has been an awesome conversation. And thanks again for hanging out with us. And anybody tuning in, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to us there. If you're Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find this show. Please subscribe to us. Really appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.